click the next one.
Okay.
Did you click it?
I did.
Then they should be able to hear us in a second.
All right.
All right, cool. Yeah, all right. Yeah.
Hi, Big Drew. We're getting used to me setting it up, and I don't have the touch that BG has, because she's got a little bit more experience with this, and she's worked with Blue a little bit more, which is good, because that means I have a pro with me who's blind, which means I'm being outshone by somebody who's blind. You're welcome, BG.
No problem. I mean, I love it, except I know I'm working with a dirty Albertan, so hey, look at that.
To be fair, I was half distracted because I have been following this guy walking across Canada, and it was just last minute, like, oh, he posted stuff. He did an update. I'm like, oh, well, you know. I think they're done for the day, is basically why it was so late, because, like, they only really go for so long. Like, you know, a human can only really go for so long before they have to kind of find a place to locate and keep themselves. So, especially considering they're doing this in winter, like, at least they picked the good province to start in, because BC right now, you can camp in BC in this weather. It's just not comfortable. So I think they're stopping whenever they get to another small town where they know they're going to be able to locate. I would do the same. Like, even if it means cutting your walk short, I would do the same. Like, these are still military guys, and they're not young. And they do have some people with them who aren't military people to begin with. So, based off of what they have, what they're carrying, what supplies they have, I would do the exact same thing. But they basically covered... the amount of ground that they covered would take somebody about 6 to 7 hours driving. They did that today. So it's a good walk. Good fucking walk. I could see them taking a really long time getting to the end of Canada. Like, it really brings to mind what Terry Fox really did.
Matter of fact, I was gonna say they should time themselves to see if they can beat him in his time getting across or not.
I mean, you do have to take into account they have more people. Like, it's not just people following him in trucks to make sure he's okay. Like, there are people actively going with him. But yeah, they're doing pretty well, given what their start is, given the fact that their traction's not the same. Like, Terry did that in the summer. I think he was like spring, fall, summer. So, I mean, yes, you're dealing with roads, but it's not snow.
He had one leg.
True.
So,
but
if
snow
they do it
drifts
slower than a man with one leg, then I feel like we should laugh at them as they go by. Oh, a Hellcat! My man! Ha ha! And hey, Red. Hey, Big Drum. Yeah. And Jen, what'd you do to your meme reel?
I don't know. Let's see what's going on with OBS. There.
Did you put it down to the bottom one instead of the third?
Yeah, that's exactly what I did, because you said bottom, and I went, oh, okay. I'm a literal person.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah,
that's okay.
Yeah, and
you know what? I'm gonna do to you what I do to my boss. I'm gonna repeat back everything.
Oh, that's okay. I don't know if you wanted your webcam on or not, but it's not.
Not this time. I mean, I could,
okay.
But not this time. I'm not gonna worry about it being a box in the corner, though. Like, hey, just don't put your finger in there, guys.
Cool. How? Welcome to Jen's stream of awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah. She's talking about a more athletic with both legs Terry Fox.
Not necessarily. Like, the guy is almost in his 60s. You know. He is a military guy. He's now an ex-military guy. So he's a vet. And he's gathered a group of other vets. I'm not sure how many people are following him now. It's one of the updates I don't really know. I'll have to look into it a little bit more. But he's traveling across Canada. And yes, he started a couple weeks ago, but, you know, I think he was getting all his resources together before they started. So, that's a thing, because it is winter. I do think that they're going to be taking some pauses, because unlike Terry didn't have to take the winter into account. Like, that is a thing. Like, if they have to spend a day at a place because it's minus 40, they might end up having to do that. Like, you know, you could travel between one town, but one town in Canada could be like 3 hours driving. You know, you can travel in that, but if you aren't picking up people along the way who have that kind of equipment, it's not going to work. So I don't know if that's what they're doing too, or what's happening with them. But they've gone through half a province over almost a week and a half. So that's not bad in terms of travel time plus like doing the setup. I would see them catching up a little bit more as they go through certain provinces, just because BC's kind of hella mountains, and they're gonna go through the same shit with Alberta because that's the end that they've picked. So once they get through half of southern Alberta, they're probably gonna pick up speed, just because like between here and Manitoba is flatland. It is flatland, at least from the route that they're going.
Dude, have you ever seen the flatland from a plane?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then have you ever flown over Ontario after going through the flatland?
Yes.
From a plane.
That's what I mean. Like, I can see them slowing down again once they make it to your province, but like between us, like I said, halfway through southern Alberta, once they hit Saskatchewan in Manitoba, they're going to be fine in terms of that travel, because they're on the border of Canada and the US. I would do the same thing.
I'm wearing your pants, by the way.
Hi, Rin.
Sorry.
Hi, Vinny. Hi, Daryl.
Yep. Well, yeah, when I was going out to Calgary and Banff, we went, it was like an evening flight. So we get up there and we're like, it's like twinkly constellations down there. And then we got over near Saskatchewan and we're like, there's nothing down here. Mm-hmm. And we got to Alberta and we're like, we are at least gonna land in civilization, right? Right? And then all of a sudden mountains, and we're like, Eureka! There's people! And mountains and shit! And then leaving, we're all tired from all the fun shit that we did, and the fact that all the fun shit was uphill. Like, you get in a Banff, right? You get a little map, okay? There, bud? And you go, all right, where's the most fun shit? And it's like, the restaurants are all down the road, and the little flat place. And you're like, yes, nom, 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 nom. And it's like, all right, hot springs, here we go. And it's way the fuck up there, and never mind, we're going somewhere else. Because who wants to march up that? Like, who does? And then there was the playground. And I can tell you, ladies and gentlemen, it is full of elk poop.
Yep.
All of the poop. And we don't have elk over in Ontario unless it's, like, brought over to eat grass and shit. So we just get there, and everybody's like, what's all those little brown things? And some Albertan goes, that's elk poop, and kept walking. We're like, and we're leaving. This is fucking gross. We're leaving. This is not where we want to sit and eat our ice cream.
That's the way we go about it, too. Sorry, that is Alberta humor. Like, yeah, you're sitting a bunch crap, just so you know.
And we didn't realize what we were in for when we got there, all right? We're just like beautiful Rocky Mountains and mooses and fucking walking and horses and stuff and playgrounds. Poop. And we're like, wow. Okay. Okay.
All the dirty Albertans like, welcome to nature, kids.
Right? Hi, Cryptic. Oh, they got the message. I added everyone, and I put the link up in the Discord, and that was like a hint.
Nice.
Yeah, because I'm an asshole.
No, you're not. I think we're both just kind of getting used to doing this stuff, and I'm not meaning to put stuff off. It's just that is kind of how I am. I am a little bit of I'm a procrastinator, and I know that doesn't always work. Like, here's the thing with a procrastinator: is sometimes you get a procrastinator who does it right, and all of a sudden they pull genius moves at the last moment. I can do that sometimes, but as a professional procrastinator, like, at least a couple times you fail. That's just how that works.
Very fair.
But I also don't write down articles when I read them. I just read them and then remember as much as I can.
Jen, you're a Spurg. That's not a good idea for you.
I know.
I can do that, okay? But I feel like the moment just slips.
And then she gets distracted. I'll be 2 seconds. I just gotta get something to drink. Coffee.
Christine. Who the fuck is this guy talking about? Christine. Oh, please don't tell me you're talking about... No, it's not Christian Freeland. Okay, that's good. I was reading a Doug Ford post, and he goes, Christine, we've been connected at the hip for the last 2 years. You've been instrumental in helping steer Ontario through one of the most difficult periods in our province's history. And I'm thinking, motherfucker, I didn't ask to be steered anywhere. I'm getting off this fucking ride. Thank you for your 16 years of service to the people of Ontario. You are an absolute champion. I'm like, fuck off. Fuck off. We are not people that need to be reprogrammed or steered. I am not a lemming. Just because you drive somewhere doesn't mean I will follow you. Matter of fact, I probably won't follow you. The end.
Yeah, like I said, I said this earlier in a Discord that a lot of our comedians are going to have a little bit of a twist up here. So part of the problem that's been going on for the last 4 years is part of the narrative is that if you have a differing opinion, you're automatically a Nazi, you know, blah, 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 blah. And now their science is just going to take a direct turn. A direct turn that is going to sound similar to everything that people on the left who've disagreed with them for the last 4 years have been saying. They're now saying that now. En masse. Now, that's not to say that people on the streets aren't wearing their masks. They aren't kind of still a little bit like... Yeah, yesterday I had somebody, you know, give me the cross motion with their fingers, and I was rather amused by it. And then, like, you really think I'm a demon because I don't have a mask on? Okay. These people have really convinced themselves of this narrative because of our media. And this sudden twist is going to set them all off. I'm not a big fan of being surrounded by angry Karens. I'm just saying.
Whoa, Jen, you gotta pull up Twitter. You gotta go to what's trending. Hashtag they lied.
Oh, I know. They did that. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, but it's trending. Pull it up for the stream.
Okay.
Like, I'm just reading it. They're like...
Oh, it disappeared.
So, yesterday I was reading an article, okay, about Give, Send, Go, and GoFundMe. And I was saying it's interesting because the most intricate parts of that news article was when they said 85% of the donations were based in Canada. And then they were like 30, or no, it was 75 or 80 or whatever. And like 28% was American. So 2% was whatever. And so now today on Twitter, trending, they lied, is because House of Commons, Senate, and Trudeau went foreign funded convoy, funded convoy, and then testified yesterday, actually, it was a Canadian funded convoy. So now, trending, they lied.
You know what's also trending? They've gone back to Justin Trudeau's dad. The National Post just tweeted this out. Why Fidel Castro is not Justin Trudeau's dad, even though he really, really looks like him.
You're hoping they were going to bring up the fact that Pierre Trudeau. You want to know what's the most interesting part of the convoy about what Trudeau did? They barred the vets from going to the War Memorial.
Yeah.
Understand, the War Memorial is for them.
Mm-hmm.
It is theirs. It is not his. Now, the funnier part is I challenge anybody in the chat to look this up on Google because you will not find it. Pierre Trudeau sent Justin Trudeau to fucking military school to straighten him the fuck out, and Trudeau fucking ran. Or he sent him to the military, sorry. He sent him to be recruited by the military to straighten him the fuck out, and Trudeau left. And there were articles all about it, and they pulled them the year he was running for prime minister, that he essentially left the military and ran. He went AWOL. I'm surprised that's not trending.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit of history of Mr. Trudeau. He was a wild child brat, even to his daddy. And his daddy was a piece of shit, too. So, there you have it. Extra shit. Just extra shit.
Well, it looks like they're going after Albertans again.
Of course they are.
Well, let's see what they're saying about us. What did the dirty Albertans do this time? Oh, yeah. You know what? They're mad because Jason's trying to push the gas thing because, it would be a good move to flip off, just saying we're still taking oil from... Never mind. That would get us in trouble. I'm sorry, Susan. No fake news. Just by the way, Jason Kenney is my premier, so I'm just saying what he says.
Yeah, he's probably trying to take the limelight right now because he wasn't very popular until right now.
Oh, that is true. You are not wrong. I mean, he's stepping. He's absolutely. What he's doing right now is he's smear campaigning the NDP, which is why I'm supporting him in that part of his cause. That doesn't mean I won't turn on the guy. I ain't voting for him. I ain't gonna do that. But the part where he is slandering the NDP is exactly what I'm helping him do, because as far as I'm concerned, Jagmeet is a mini Trudeau, or at the very least he's helped prop him up, and he's not a leader. And also the NDP are just as bad. They are. If they were in charge, they would just continue doing what they're doing and double down more. Because that's the problem, is now that somebody has proven that they're wrong, they're doubling down. Because they're going to lose control.
I'm going to send something very interesting your way. Only because I think everybody will find this rather interesting. It's not necessarily completely Canada, but it is Canada at the same time. Only because it's everybody. But there you go. Bam. Basically, it's a clip of the CDC admitting that the vax is not 95% effective, and she claimed that she was just overly optimistic. I'm sorry, but once you look at the data and you know it's wrong, there is no I was overly optimistic. There's you lied, and you lied. I hope you can't hear that.
I like this guy. He's got a good sign, and his glasses are awesome. Stop saying Trudeau is trying his best. He's the PM, not a 4-year-old. He's not wrong.
Wilson, this stream does not need you.
Meow. Penis. Wrong one.
Penis! I played with you before the stream started, you little shit.
You know what would be funny is if with him, penis repulses him instead of makes him excited.
Considering it's a dude.
Mm-hmm. Right?
You know, just considering it's a dude. Just saying.
Yeah.
They lied about having body cams. Lied in order to get warrant. Lied about announcing themselves. Oh, this has nothing to do with anything. Fuck off. This means nothing. They lied. Men can't give birth. Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh God. Let's see. What else can I find? Wow, anti-vaxxers right now are going crazy and having they lied trending. Well, no, ladies and gentlemen, it's not just the anti-vaxxers, it's also just thank you, trucks, for liberating us. By the way, heartwarming story. Thank you to the trucks. Because my son gets to go to the wave pool tomorrow because trucks liberated the fuck out of Canada right now. So I owe my allegiance to trucks everywhere. You know what? Even if you were burning us into the ground with CO2 and carbon emissions, I would let you do it in excess like a hog, just because. Just because.
The other thing that's going on too, it really isn't just the truckers. It really has to do with the fact that right now we're also in tax season, and they have to pay out. So now they're talking about more tax hikes. You know how it is, guys. They always want more money. And yet the people they're asking money from aren't even allowed to protest. I got a problem with that. If you're asking me for more money, but I'm not allowed to protest, I don't think I should have to pay you.
Agreed.
Like,
which is why. Which is why you just wonder, you know, if you're going to demand 65% of our paychecks, motherfuckers, we better be allowed to occupy whatever the fuck we want and yell at you and your dumb shit.
See, here's the thing. They're, you know, they are lifting all our mandates, and it's like, oh, that's really nice and stuff. But then they're wanting to raise our carbon tax, and you know, it's probably because they burnt through all our money over the last 2 years, and so now they need more money. But here's the thing: we aren't going to see that money. That's going to go into their pockets because, you know, they need therapy because of Honk Honks. They're draining us dry is what's the problem. And yes. We're already stressed. We're already mentally scarred from the last 2 years. We haven't really recovered yet. It's going to take time for people to rebuild on anything, assuming they can even get loans, assuming they even trust the banks, because the banks are... Yeah, like I said, the trucker movement hasn't stopped. The banks are suffering. Like, the banks are actually going after people because they've left them. You know, people who've done business with them for years are now switching over to cryptocurrency because we don't trust anybody.
Crypto is about to get bankrupted by Canada. By the way, pleading the fifth, tell the angry Eskimo, "Hey, from a Mohawk in Canada, I love you, angry Eskimo. I hate your name, but I love you." I am going to try to get some of the footage from their truck party they're having right now, Honk Honk.
Oh, that'd be good.
I don't know if I'll be able to get it, but if I can, Honk Honk. Seriously, all the hearts and love to all of the trucks that are still honking in America right now. I love you. And I hope you have your pew-pews. Yeah, I learned Ottawa are still hearing phantom honking. Yes! They're claiming... Did you hear this, Jen? Mm-hmm. People in Ottawa are claiming that they have PTSD and they're hearing phantom honking.
Yeah. I've heard some people be like, you know, when you guys were occupying the city, and I'm like, you know how many people that I know live there who are like, you're full of shit? You're full of shit, you're full of shit. You can't win with these people because they see it a different way. They always will see it a different way.
Agreed. Agreed. And hello, Elwin, in the chat. Oh, and you know how bad your country is? This Albertan will love this. The only mistake Canadian donors made was believing they were in a democracy. Russell Brand. When I have to say that, fuck my country.
Like I said, I know people mock me for bringing up Russell Brand. I know who he is. He is very much a lefty. But even a lefty can tell when something has gone too far. And he's being pushed to the middle ground. And I'm like, you know what? I will happily welcome another person to the middle ground. Because once you hit the middle, I can talk to you. And at least convince you that even though my beliefs might not be the same as yours, they don't make me an evil person. They just make me a different person. At least in my beliefs. Doesn't make me a malicious person or an evil person or somebody who's out to get somebody else. It just, I have different values. Or priorities. It's really about priorities. That's really what politics are, is priorities are different for different people. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh my
and
god.
The best part about the they lied thing right now is the propaganda against Ukraine, which is just boiling my blood right now.
Yeah. I don't like wars. I'm still in the peacekeeper mode. I don't like seeing civilians get caught up in the war, and that's a lot of what I've been seeing. Both sides, actually. People who don't want to go to war are being sent to war, and people who would rather that they didn't come to their country are being invaded. Oh, and we're being told not to care about it because both people in this party are white.
Yep.
And I'm like, you know, the last time I checked over the last 20 years, I haven't seen us, like, not caring about wars because the people involved weren't white. I think most of our lack of want to be involved was due to the fact that every time we get involved, things get worse. That's not a colorism. That's just realizing that reality is a thing, and everything we've done hasn't really been effective.
Fair. This is fair.
That's not racism. That's kind of going, okay, we're trying to help, but we're making it worse. And some people might not actually be in there helping. We've proven that much. But that makes it harder for us to know when we're actually gonna help. So pulling out does seem like the most reasonable thing to do. And I understand taking that stance when it comes to it, because then you're not talking about color, at least. You're talking about, like, can we help in this situation without causing more problems? That's what the discussion should be. It's not about whether or not it's Russia or Ukraine. It's about whether or not our involvement is going to resolve the situation at all. As a Canadian, anyway.
This is fair. This is very fair. God damn it, leave the Ukraine shit out of here, please. Go away. Oh my god. You know what? I feel annoyed now about just following this hashtag because this is just pissing me off.
Yeah, they got a lot of them.
Yep. Let's see. We Charity said they were not paying the Trudeaus. Turns out they lied and have been paying since 2016. There are now calls for a criminal investigation. Good luck in getting that, ladies and gentlemen. Just good luck, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh.
Just. Ugh.
So this is a little bit of yesterday's news. It does come from MSN. But apparently there was a charter aircraft carrying 2 Russian foreign nationals that are being held in Yellowknife.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Where'd they go?
I'm gonna click on it. Let's click on this article. All right, so a charter aircraft carrying 2 Russian foreign nationals is being held at the Yellowknife NWT Airport, Transport Canada says. The department didn't say why or for how long the aircraft that was grounded on Tuesday would be restricted to the airport, but told Global News in an email to Thursday that Transport Canada is working with Canada's Border Service Agency to assess the matter.
Wait, they're flying in Russians? Why? I mean, okay, some Russian citizens maybe, but like what?
They well, I can read a little bit more. It's not that long an article. They said they're trying to find out if there has been any violation of the recently announced notice to Airman NOTAM that prohibits Russian aircraft from operating in Canadian airspace. Ottawa officially closed up the nation's airspace on February 24th while announcing a set of sanctions against Russia as the war against Ukraine rages on. It has also shut ports to Russian vessels, sent lethal military aid to Ukraine, and asked the International Criminal Court to probe alleged war crimes by Russian forces. Potential consequences and enforcement actions will be determined based on the facts. A spokesperson for Transport Canada told Global News. Our federal minister of transport, Amar Al-Gabra, I don't trust that guy, also confirmed the detainment of the aircraft in a tweet Thursday afternoon. We will continue to hold Russia accountable for its invasion of Ukraine, he said. And no, in his tweet, he says a charter aircraft that carried Russian foreign nationals has been held at the Yellowknife. Yeah, he's just repeating that shit. And they said, we can tell you all that all travelers arriving in Canada are subject to strict screening measures and must demonstrate they meet the requirements to enter the country, the spokesperson said. The government of Canada takes aviation safety and its border national security responsibility very well. They should, considering what happened. You know, 9/11 was a thing, and that might have. Yeah, I hope you're taking that stuff seriously, because
they're not. Here's the problem, Jen. Here's the big problem right now is Ukraine basically just said, welcome to World War III, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Here's the actual fucking facts of this shit. The minute that Canada, America, and NATO made no-fly zones of Russian aircrafts, we've just entered World War III. And this is why. Mm-hmm. 2 ways are going to go down right now. Either they're going to see a Russian aircraft and balk, which means we're weak, and that's going to give Russia power. Or we're going to have to shoot it down. And if we do so, that's war. The silence means it's sinking in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I figured that. I'm like, oh shit. I could see him doing it too. No.
Both scenarios are not good.
I mean, the only thing that's probably going to hesitate him at all, and I know it's not much, is still Biden. Like, Biden might be a pussy, and he is. He absolutely will fold, but the minute they cross over that border, the Americans are going to flip.
Because the minute they see an aircraft, they're going to have to shoot it down.
Mm-hmm.
And that's war.
And it brings us both in. It brings us both in, basically.
Yes, it does. And the UN has already declared war crimes against Russia for blowing up a nuclear facility.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're heading into World War III.
Environmentalists in Canada and America are causing a problem because war means carbon emissions means we're going to have to make sacrifices, which means we're going to need gas. And Canada has the second largest oil deposit on the globe. And if we don't get that pumping, we're going to have a problem with Russia and China and Iran being allied. And the bigger it grows and the more fucking ballsy they get, the more intense it's going to be. Happy! Welcome! Ooh, Hawk Silk! Yo! Hey! I am so happy to see some old faces. I really am. I'm actually thoroughly happy about this.
Like I said, as a peacekeeper, I really don't like that kind of stuff. Like, if they start trying to talk like concentration camps for Russians, I'm gonna slap people. I am gonna slap people.
I mean, they might, but I don't think they will. I think what's going to go down, essentially, is we're either going to have to face it right now, or face it later. And I would rather face it now before they get bigger and stronger, because that's just the way it is. We cannot halfway this. We cannot say, we're just going to throw sanctions at you, but still buy their oil, because that is going to do nothing. We have to go all the way or not at all. And we're afraid to go all the way because we haven't seen war in the past 2 generations. So we either need to back up Ukraine right now, or back up our own asses right now, or the globe's going to get involved like World War II, where the domino effect is going to hit. And if we wait until that happens, until another USSR builds, until China looks good, if we don't give Russia an off-ramp to get off this crazy train, they're going to have to go all the way. And Putin right now, the Russians are pissed at him because they didn't realize they were going to be targeting civilians, and they are. If Putin doesn't keep going all the way, he's going to be taken out. Unless we give him an off-ramp. But that, again, leaves a bad taste in our mouths, because that means we have to show mercy on someone who's just fucking mercilessly killing people. If we don't do that, it's going to escalate. But even then, let's say we give him the off-ramp. Now what do we do? Because Putin has triggered a rearming of the world.
Yep.
Their nuclear deterrent was once okay. Now they're rearming. Japan and Germany are rearming. And this is very fucking real.
I mean, Japan, I think, has been making plans to do that anyway. Just because China's been terrifying for a while. And I'm just glad they haven't started. Because they will. They will. Once we jump in, they're going to start something. I guarantee it. Yes, I mean, we might have to sacrifice. We might have to say goodbye to Taiwan. That's just the reality. Because I don't think we can focus on both.
We can. We have to. The reason why we have to is because all of our technology advancement and medical advancement, all those little microchips, anything that is microchipped, like cars, trucks, planes, computerized, internet, cell phones, everything. Those little mini chips are all manufactured from Taiwan.
I know.
We don't have a choice. We can't just let Taiwan go. We can't. Because to what end? Where do we draw the line and stand up?
It's not about drawing the line. It's about the fact that, like, where are you going to stretch your resources from when like, who's going to be fighting these wars right now? Because, like, we've got 2 weak leaders in the West, and I don't know that Boris is necessarily a strong leader either. Australia's kind of fucked. That's kind of where I'm at. It's not about sacrificing or where it's at. It's about, like, strategically speaking, I don't know where they're going to go. Like, if they're going to be able to split off.
They are.
If it wasn't Biden,
swallow the pill that our people are going to die. We're going to have to swallow that fucking pill that our military is going to have to be our fucking military. People are like, as long as Americans don't die, as long as Canadians aren't dying, as long as
they're going to.
But we don't send our people over there to die. No, we have to. Because if we don't, it's going to get bigger and it's going to get worse. And the minute they take out Taiwan, we are now fucking neutered. Because everything is digital. And we have no oil and we have no digital capacities. So we're going to have to stretch it. Now, as it stands right now, Russia is so spread out within Ukraine that the forces they will take Ukraine, but by the tip of their fucking fingers. Their military is stretched thin. If we actually stood up and said, all right now, that's it, we're in, we could do it. If we don't, well, now we're going to have to stretch ourselves between Russia, China, and Iraq. And we've never had war within our borders. But if we let the other side grow, they're not going to respect our fucking borders. They're not going to respect it at all. Why do you think the WEF is targeting Canada right now? Because A, we got a shit ton of oil and resources. And B, we share the largest unguarded border on the fucking planet with America, the prime jewel of all independent thought. The minute their light goes out, liberty doesn't just stay forever in our beating hearts when we're dead.
Well, I mean, that's why we do these streams.
Liberty is not our default position. It is something that is fought for because our default position is to kill each other and to follow the guy with the biggest club. And the guy with the biggest club is going to make sure that we fall in line. Our default position is not empathy. It is not peace. It is not liberty. It is not freedom. Because the thought of freedom, if I were to say that if you're all or nothing for freedom, then that means I should be allowed to say I fucking hate black people. I should have the freedom to hate and to think what is truly the most disgusting things on the planet. And as long as I don't put that to action, as long as I don't create a majority that believes that, then I should be left the fuck alone, because that's what freedom and independence dictates. And we hope that within social coercion, we can extinguish those shitty thoughts with better ones, with sunlight. But at the end of the day, liberty is not our default standing. Liberty is not something that can never be extinguished, because I can tell you, yes, it can.
But it's not
and
just...
right now, everybody needs to put away this, but just not us, but just everybody needs to put away whatever they thought this planet was and realize we've got a problem, and it started last week. And it's not going away. There is no more peacekeeping at the moment. There can't be. Because if we don't go in and stand up and say, no, this is your line and not fucking crossing it and give it everything we got, then it will be Allied versus Axis again. That's what it will be. And all those people that died so we could remain free, we've just repeated it. So...
That's not what I mean as a peacekeeper. I'm saying that if we just go in willy-nilly, we could be dragging it out a lot more. The thing with World War I and World War II, they made sacrifices where they would deliberately make strikes, knowing that it would cause more damage at the moment, because they knew the long run would cause even greater damage. That's what I'm talking about. Like, you and I aren't those people. Like, we're the people who are seeing that shit isn't good, and we know that there needs to be a reaction. The thing is as saying this as somebody who doesn't see things from the ground, that's the thing that would be nice. Like, it would be nice if we had more of that information, because if we just make a strike right now, and it's not just the kind of strike where it's just going to stop everything, then we're going to cause more problems. That's what I'm saying. It's not about just peacekeeping. It's actually about...
But why we have foreign affairs and military strategy. And we've had a lot of years to practice that shit.
I know.
But
and they have to actually start waking up.
Toilet.
They have to start waking up to when it's actually happening. And I understand what you're saying, is that there's too many people who are like, in fantasy land, is this really happening? Yes, it is.
Yeah, there's too many people going, the environment's our biggest worry. White supremacists is our biggest worry. All this bullshit about whether men can give birth is our biggest worry. Fuck off. everybody fuck off with that shit and grow a pair.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you have screeching 20-year-olds because one person they disagree with gets to speak at a podium and they just stand there and screech and you go, wait. Just the thought that somebody that disagrees with you is in the same space as you fucking melts you down. Well, how did we get here and how do we make it stop? Because this is not a healthy society anymore.
I would say go back to that, you know how you've been covering that that thesis lately over the last couple days?
Point.
I would apply some of that logic to the same line of thinking, because a lot of these kids coming out of the schools have literally been trained to believe that the other side are literally Hitler.
Well, they've been trained to believe that something that doesn't agree with you is literally violence.
Mm-hmm.
They've been conditioned for it.
Yep.
And then the parents go, yeah, well, once they go out and hit the real world, then they'll realize that what they think is retarded. And I'm like, well, no. These people are going to go out and shape the real world. You moron.
Mm-hmm.
You absolute, utter, stick your head in the sand and be an ostrich moron. My channel's gonna get banned.
But it's the truth. And it's made them unreasonable. Like, they can't even face reality now because of it. Like, you try to tell them things like, hey, I know you think that this trucker event has ended because you don't see them or hear them anymore, but that's stupid as hell. Like, never assume that your enemy isn't doing stuff right in front of you, because of course we are. Like, I'm doing it right in front of them.
You are correct. But while it's been decades in the making, we hit the tip of the iceberg here, and we're about to go over, and we're just looking down, going, "Oh shit, that's a big drop, man," and we're just waiting for the first person to jump down and ski. Best fucking analogy I could just come up with on the fly, okay? It wasn't me that did that thing. That car with New York plates can't prove a thing. Oh, Scrappy. You know what? I wouldn't want to prove a thing. Just saying. Oh, by the way, I accidentally got banned today from one of the trucker convoys chats. Funny story, Jen. Funny story.
Mm-hmm.
I was going in there to give them my love, and then I did something really stupid, forgetting that it only takes one idiot that finds something retarded to make headlines, right? So I went in there and I did the thing that I love to do, which is, I would like to run you over with my truck. It is an 18-wheeler, so good luck. You know, like, I got 40 tons behind me and I just don't give a fuck. I would like to run you over with my truck, honk, honk. And they went, blind girl, we don't like threats here. And then boom, 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 hide, timeout, ban. And I'm like, oh shit, that was probably a bad idea. Whoop. Just whoops.
I wouldn't feel too bad. Some of those guys are lame. Some of them are lame. Not every guy is the same guy. Like, there's some people that I've definitely followed, but some of them are definitely clout chasing.
Oh yeah. I understood why, because I realized just exactly what that implied.
Also,
being a convoy.
It's like a hit and a miss with the Americans too. Like, sometimes they're absolutely delighted to have you in the chat because they're like, "Yay, it's a Canadian! You guys inspired us, and they're super nice about it and stuff." But then other times the Americans are a mixed breed. Like, I think some of them think that they've invented this shit. I think the Americans have already gotten to the point where they think they've invented this shit.
No. See, this is what the Americans did, KKK. They saw a parade that was already going and then jumped in front and just pretended they were one leading the parade.
No offense, like, because there's definitely tons of you guys who are showing support, and I love every single one of you. If I ever get a chance to meet you in life, I'll give you the hugs, because We need you guys just the same as you need us, because right now we're basically the bird in the canary in the
Hold on.
mine that's dying.
You know what? I will just, because it'll make me feel better.
Hey, dark
Do.
conservatorian.
Declan! Hi! Sorry. I mean, hey, .com, what's up? We're doing a Canadian stream now, mostly about politics and the great honking of Canada. That America is now like, this was ours, and I'm like, but you know what? Most of them, for the record, are at least putting Canadian flags in their trucks because they're super gracious, and other ones are like,
You know what, BG? I desperately need them to do this anyway. So even if they decide they want to take it, I'm probably going to feed that into them. I know that seems crafty and like I'm more intelligent than I am, but to be honest, when the Americans do a thing, it's more noticeable. Like the fact that we were noticed for so long brought tears to my eyes because we haven't really.
been on the map long.
Yes, and it's also just the fact that I feel like the world had this weird impression of us from the get-go. You know, because we've always presented ourselves as being magically perfect people, and just the last 10 years has been really clear to the world scale that we're not. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with admitting that we've never been perfect, ever. That's something that everybody has to come to a point in their life. But being shamed for so long doesn't make it easier to become stronger. It's actually not good psychologically. It's like telling a kid as he's growing up or a girl growing up that they suck all the time. Eventually they start to think they do. You convince somebody for a long time that they're bad or they're evil, and they're constantly questioning themselves and they lose their confidence. So seeing us on the world scale prove to the world that yes, actually we are good people. Do we make mistakes? Are we ignorant about some stuff? Yeah, we live our own lives. We don't have time to learn about everything just like everybody else, but on the world scale, we love everybody to the best of our abilities.
Oh.
What happened?
Okay, the Legislative Assembly of Ontario is the Conservative Party is spearheading this, and I'll tell you the title and you can cringe. Racial Equity in the Education System Act.
No more CRT.
We are trying to this right now. Thank you, Jordan B. Peterson, for letting me know. I'm pissed.
No, I'm done with that.
He says, I can't believe that the bill is spearheaded by conservatives. Don't you know that equity is a word that means everything antithetical, I can't speak, antithetical to a genuine conservatism. Ford is spearheading this. Canada, why? Okay. Well, that was my no moment. I apologize.
No, you're fine. I'm just responding to Hawk Silk. It's just one of those things where, like, Canadians are kind of emotionally stunted. So seeing us all, like, it's not that we can't express ourselves. We can. We're very good at, in all honesty, if you really want Hallmark writers, go to Canada because we're very good at that. But we don't just do that. We don't just do that on a whole, like, because it's weird. Who does that? So when we express ourselves, it's usually all at once. This is stuff that's happened to me before, where I've seen us come together for things like that. It's like back when we had the Afghan war and we were bringing our boys back home, and yeah, we were still on those bridges with our flags greeting them as they came home and saluting them as they came home. We are that kind of community, you know, where we kind of do just express ourselves at the same time. And it's times like that where it's kind of like putting a message out to other people. You know, if you want to change the world a little bit, or if you want people to see how you can do things, the best way to do that is to demonstrate it in public. And that's kind of how we are as a group too. Like, they were demonstrating in public that, yeah, we had a different opinion. We were going to be peaceful about it. We were going to have as much fun as we wanted because we've been stuffed inside for the longest time. And we wanted to spend time with other Canadians, showing the world that, like, listen, we could all have this again if we all just said, hey, enough is enough.
And Darkon, I always get excited over you. Pumpkin Trucker, yes! And Scrappy, Doug Ford is just the Premier of Ontario. He's a piece of shit posing as a PC conservative when he's a populist piece of shit that probably does cocaine on the side off of hookers' tits. And by the way, we don't have a true conservative party because PC means progressive conservative. Think about that for a minute.
They're still trying to buy back the votes from the Liberals and the NDP, especially the NDP if they can get them, because they're a little bit more reasonable. Not entirely, but a little bit more reasonable, because they think
the boomers.
Well, they think Trudeau's scary. They actually do think he's scary. They just agree with his opinions on stuff.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I blame the boomers. You want to know why? Because back in the day, I'm sure everybody, not even just Canadians, by the way, I'm sure everybody, when it was election time, a gramps or an old parent saying, what am I going to get if I vote for you? Huh? What are you going to give me if I vote for you? The fact that what perks up your vote is what am I going to get, not what are the foundations, principles, and convictions of the person I am voting for. The fact that it shifted from where are my gimmies? What are you going to do for me? Huh? What are you going to do for me, the taxpayer? We need to fucking kick everybody in the ass that taught their kids that shit. Including my dearly beloved grandfather. Just saying. It's like when they were upping the minimum wage, which, by the way, is just a magical fictional number. Minimum wage or a living wage, fictional fucking number. When they were going $15 an hour, man, $15 an hour. And I went, Mom, brother dear, $15 an hour is going to make everything more fucking expensive and less people have a job. Or less people have full-time hours with benefits and dental. So, why would you think this is okay? And he's like, because I'll get a pay increase. Not even thinking with any kind of foresight. Just here in the moment, this is what I'm getting right now. Ka-ching! And I'm like, fuck. At what point did we stop caring about values, principles, convictions?
Because nobody ever really taught him that, you know, if he worked there for long enough and put in the time and the hours, he could probably make the same amount anyway.
Oh, he was there for a long amount of hours because it was a plastic injection molding company called LG.
Okay, so different situations. So that's him having to negotiate too.
Yeah, but he essentially was like, ka-ching! And I'm like, so you don't look at any of the surrounding areas of which might be appropriate to look at before deciding this is a great idea. Where's your gift of foresight? Where are your values and principles? Where are they? Why do we not look at these people and see what they stand for and what bullshit they've bowed for and what they've lied to us and forgotten about? And why don't we, just think about it and then go, you know what? I'm not gonna vote for you. You know, you might even be in the same fucking party that I like, but fuck you. No, fuck you. Like, the biggest thing that Virginia learned was not to make a voter class out of parents. But they did it. They fucking did it. They made a voter class out of parents with two things. Covering up rapes because boy looks like girl and thinks he's girl, okay? And saying parents shouldn't be the ones deciding what goes on in the classroom. They militarized parents in a voting block and they went, bitch! And they found out what happened. We need more of that. Today, this day and age in Canada, I've heard my teacher aunt bitch and go, I shouldn't have to feel like I'm walking on eggshells going into the classroom because parents are scrupulating whatever the fuck it is that I'm doing because I know better than them and blah, 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 blah. I'm like, dude, I don't want teachers to be comfortable. I don't. In a classroom, I don't want the teacher teaching my child to feel comfortable. I want them to be afraid. I want them to be worried. I want them to put the strongest ethics of education up there and balance on that fine fucking line because I'm putting the most precious thing that I have in the fucking world in your hands. And I don't ever want you to feel comfortable. Because I don't. Parents don't. If you were looking after my cat, be comfortable. My kid? No. And your values don't go into my kid. That's my job. Period. Your values, right, left, center, up, down, backwards, diagonal. My job, not your job. Teachers that want to feel comfortable in the classroom, get another job. Look after puppies.
Well, here's the thing. It's become so one-sided in education to begin with. Like, we already know that majority of the teachers that are hired are already kind of left-leaning to begin with.
Yeah, and bottom of the bucket because, let's be fair, if you're smarter and higher of class, you're going to go to be a university professor.
But let's just be absolutely clear. If it was a conservative doing that crap, they would be up in arms. Like, that's why they don't have a lot of conservatives to begin with, because they automatically assume that's what they do. So the fact that they're doing it so much is why there's a clear issue. Like, I'd really be putting in, like, I really wish that they weren't hiring people based off of their politics to begin with, because that's a problem to me. But if that's going to be an issue, then they need to balance that out too, because that's clearly been an issue. And no more politics in the classroom unless the classroom is about politics.
That's correct.
Like, if you need to even it out the board to keep it from being overly one-sided, then fine. But keep it out of the classroom unless it's what it's for. Because math isn't politics. English isn't politics. Science is not politics, and it shouldn't be.
No.
I get why it can be, but it shouldn't ever be.
And that's why scientists should not be the ones making legislation, because at the end of the day, you don't just need facts and logic. You know what else you need? Ethics.
Mm-hmm.
You need it. You need ethics. And I actually posed this interesting question in the last stream with Needlepoint. If you guys weren't there, you should totally watch it. Part 1 and 2, very informative. But essentially, the code of ethics for the medical field. Whenever you go to get a surgery now or a pill, they give you the informed consent shit. So, by the way, small chance, but while we're operating on your back, we might fuck up your legs. Small chance, but we might. And then you sign a waiver, because that's informed consent. Where that came from, it's all about ethics in perspective. So in the moment of the first inoculations, they used cowpox to inoculate with smallpox. However effective that was, children still died from it. However effective that was in the moment, though, most kids lived. And when they were doing this, they didn't inform the parents exactly what they were doing because they were afraid the parents would say no and smallpox would continue. In that moment, that was not okay. But in 2022, that is celebrated as the building stones of both medical ethics and vaccination technology. Where do you draw that line? Where do you find that line? Where do you build upon a good baseline of ethics? And there's where we get philosophy from. Ethics and philosophy, two things we've pulled from high school education and went, they can learn that on their own.
Well, I think it's the fact that they're doing that with adults that's really the most upsetting. Like, I can understand somewhat doing that with a child, because a child might not understand anyway.
But they didn't tell the parents of the child.
And that's the problem.
Yep. In the moment, that was bad. But in 2022, that was a net gain.
Because it's not like there aren't parents who have kids who are ill who don't know that maybe this procedure might not be the good thing to go. But they don't have anything else.
They learned that day. Yeah. If you could point and say, so which was right? Because, I mean, it technically saved, at this point, billions of lives for decades, for centuries.
Mm-hmm.
In the moment, it was wrong, though. Where do you draw the line? Well, here's the philosophy of it. The philosophy is to trust in the people of your society to make the right choice, even if it scares them. That is something we learned in that moment. And that is something we've forgotten today, because as it stands, the government and the BIS system that's been activated for the vaccinated don't trust the individual to make the right decision and get vaccinated for whatever reason, the greater good or whatever the fuck, which I hate that term, by the way. But having the faith and trust and understanding that the individual can and most likely will make the best decision they can, because they don't want to die. So they're going to do their own risk assessment. But do we trust them to do it? I don't know. It all depends on how we view our fellow citizens and, in fact, the human race. Most people say people are stupid. I don't like people. Animals are better than people. Well, maybe if we cut that shit out, we might actually have faith in people around us to do what's best, to make the right choice with all of the information. But we don't trust people to make the right choice with all of the information, and thusly we've gone into this downward spiral tangled loop of, who the fuck do we trust now? Because the institutions are gutted, we don't fucking trust them, and it's like, where do you think that came from? Not respecting the individual is where it came from. Not respecting people around you and having faith that they will do their best. Where do we start the building blocks to teach that to someone? Someone might know where this quote is from. It's was a very popular TV show and one of my favorite. Somebody once said in that TV show, and maybe Jen will understand where I got this from, that says, a boy, a man, can learn anything and everything from the world around him. You can learn how to do anything without his parents. You've got the internet, you've got cell phones, you've got communities, you've got societies, you've got all these places where a child who grows into a man can learn anything himself except for one thing: to trust in his or her instincts. That needs to be taught. And if we build a foundation trusting on individual instincts and trusting and believing in our fellow man, then we might get somewhere. That I learned from a show called Due South. It was said by a man named Benton Fraser. Who would be disappointed in the RCMP of today?
Well, he would be. Like, it's just it's not just RCMP, though. It's the common cop. Like, I feel for the guys who probably haven't had anything to do with anything, because it's really hard to trust any of them anymore. Because you don't know who takes their vows seriously and who's just there to work their job. And I understand that. I do, because I've had a job too. I mean, I've never had to support a family, but I understand that loss would be like terrifying and not pleasant to think about. But if your job is also to make sure that you're protecting the people, then you need to know that that's what you're supposed to be doing. Um,
Yep.
and if the government's trying to convince you that one group of people is evil because of a political leaning, that should be a clear indicator that something's not right. Because that's what happened. And I stand by that. Like, this thing where they keep bringing up racism in the trucker movement. I'm like, you guys got to stop doing that.
Yep.
Just.
And Jack,
Hmm?
he said he was gonna turn us off because I dropped the 4-letter F word.
Nah.
I'm blushing now. Yeah, no, othering people is apparently, for all of the pumping of the Holocaust, to the expense of the Gulag Archipelago, which I say is one of our greatest, most biggest tragedies of the education system today and age. Of all of that, we learned that othering people, Jews, are bad.
Yes.
And we still haven't learned.
No, not even a little bit.
Not even a little bit.
No.
Not even a tiny little smidge.
No. And they did it with ideology. It was so simple for them. They just did it with ideology. It was such an easy trick because you know what? The religious have done it for years. They have. They just think things just a little bit off. And they must be wrong. They must be hearing things from the devil. And that's what they've done. And I'm like, God damn it, they did that. I'm not a philosophy person, nor am I a psychology major, but yeah, that's what they did.
Yeah, it is. And Red Feather, figs. Did you steal that from Stephen Crowder? Because I applaud. Thanks. Cuss away. I do. Oh, freaking right, I'm gonna cuss away. You know what? I cuss as much as Ben Shapiro. Okay. He cusses a lot, just not on air. I personally don't care because I will never be monetized, nor do I care to be monetized. So you know what? I'll say it all the time. I'll even say figs.
Yeah, I swear all the time too, but I tend to, I do apologize for my French a lot. Mostly because it's the fear of throwing out a naughty word in front of my mom. She has this thing where she'll let one slide every once in a while as long as I apologize for it. That way she knows that I'm aware that I'm not supposed to use that language in front of her. It's like a pre-apology for something I'm going to do. And usually she does agree with the sentiment. Like if I'm saying something about Trudeau and I use a cuss word, she knows why I did it. She knows why I did it. And she usually says that she repeats it back and she's like, yeah, you're not wrong. He is an asshole. Or he is a bastard. He is a fucker. She's actually called him a fucker before. I was like, I'm so proud of you, Mom. She used the hard F word.
Wait, what just... Ontario is dropping proof of vaccination policies. Yet the Liberals continue to drag their feet by refusing to remove their unscientific and undemocratic federal mandates. Conservatives will not stop calling on this government to restore freedom to Canadians. Sure about that? Because I don't believe that's true, but okay. Like, I don't believe it's true. I mean,
I kind of after hearing that other stuff about the schools, it's put a wedge of doubt with me. It's not that they're not going to get rid of the mandates. It's just that sometimes the two of them are friends behind the scenes. So this makes me wonder if, yes, they're helping them to get rid of the mandates because clearly enough Canadians want it. So it is enough of a political move that the Liberals can see that. But I could see the Liberals moving in something else. And yes, I am going back to the climate change people because, yes, they are going to distract from more important things with shit like, oh, we got to protect for the climate, so you guys can't have big parties anymore because that's a damage to the environment. Even if it's in a big major city and you're going to clean it up anyway. Yeah, they're still gonna go after shit like that. They are, but they're not gonna do it under the mandates. They're gonna do it under climate change. That's why they're getting rid of the mandates.
Yeah. Jordan Peterson just made another really good point. So, telegraph.co.uk says Putin's energy shock is broadening into a world food crisis.
BG, I'll be right back.
Okay. 1 billion of the world's poorest people will go even hungrier thanks to Putin's dangerous misadventure. Now, Jordan Peterson's response is, do you suppose this has anything to do with shutting the world down for 18 months? Or with prioritizing green modelizing over prudent decision-making, Germany, UK, US, Canada, and now people will go hungry because of it. You know what? Ask the people that want everybody to go carbon neutral if they're okay with killing children. Oh wait, yes they are. They like abortion. Like, I don't understand why. I don't understand why we aren't trying to find cheap ways to give the poor energy so that they could be anything but poor people that, you know, are having a problem with energy. Why are we buffering? My apologies for the buffer. Oh wait, I might actually be behind on stream stuff. That makes me really sad. Right now, it really does. Okay. Darkon. Oh, Risk of Rain 2. I've never heard of that game. Is it interesting by any chance? Because I'm kind of a dick. I really love getting good at video games only so I can tell people that you were just beaten by a blind girl. Because the fact of that just makes their balls shrink a little smaller and their dick recoil into a vagina that much more. Or if it's a woman, it just makes her suck even more. One of the two. Women are the worst, by the way, so But yeah. You're not buffering for me. Sorry, it was a lag in the stream when it was buffering earlier. Thanks, Big Dro. Red Feather. I do Hawk Silk. Ask the people I talk to VC often. Oh, Red Feather, she's like a drunken sailor. It's very entertaining. I love it so much. Like, I can't believe we're prioritizing on cutting off gas and oil right now when we're going to have to take it from Russia if we don't. Like, there's no reason why America and Canada couldn't have been the producer of our own goddamn energy. Well, there's no reason why. There's no absolute reason why. It would lower the cost for families. It would lower the cost for everybody.
Well, it's not just that. It's not just that. It's the fact that we have pretty much most of the materials that you find in places like Taiwan, but because we're restricted on everything, we don't use any of it. So we're stuck with fighting over places like Taiwan because we're not set up for anything. It's the same as the fact that we don't refine our own shit. Like, I appreciate being partners with the US because they save our butts from, like, invading Russians and stuff like that, but we don't use any of our shit. Like, we really don't. Like, we have our own
why we have to abandon ethics and get it from other places that have questionable practices.
Like, because it makes us feel better that we're not getting our hands dirty. It's like I don't like it either. Like, considering you would like to think that we would do it better with more consideration.
Oh. I'm gonna have to read a donation. I don't know if it came up on your end, Jen, because you were a BRB.
It did, yeah. Yep.
Okay. It did. Well, I did it read out?
No.
I didn't realize it happened.
Give Princess money, she's blind and works hard is the Streamlines. Like, let me...
I know, but we just got a $3 tip.
Let me see if I can open it. I don't know what it says. Yeah, it doesn't say anything.
It's by Big Dro, which means it's going to be gross. It's going to be gross. I'm already in Streamlabs. Let me see where's the dashboard? God damn it. Blind girl getting foiled by the Streamlabs website. Shut up, Wilson.
He's even saying no. No.
He really is. He's going, no. Okay. Thank you for the $5 donation. I will try to read this damn message if it would come up. Come on, Streamlabs. Where is it? Oh my god. I'm on the dashboard, but it's not showing me anything except for the crap I already did. I'll just reload the page and see if that works. I'll do the dead air song. Do 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 do. Get up, cat. Do 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 do.
Wilson! Penis!
All right.
He's like, wait, what? No.
Right.
That's what makes it funny. Meow. Meow. He can't even hear me.
He can.
He can?
Yes, he can. Yeah, I have you coming out of my speakers, but.
Wilson.
Something while I'm loading this. This is just really sad dead air.
Wilson. Meow.
That is also more dead air.
I know, but it's funny. How's the chat doing? You know what? Let's go back to chat. You know what? When we have dead air, that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to play host, and so we got Cryptic who's come to visit us. Hi, Cryptic. Where are you going, Cryptic? He's got his bags packed. Well, he's probably working, so.
Okay. All right. I have it. Thank you, Big Dro, for the $5. I'll get closer microphone so I can read this. It's probably going to be disgusting. I want to show my whole. Wait. I want to shove my whole fist up my backside hole after I dip it in a bowl of ranch dressing. Would you like a taste, blind girl? No more for you, Big Dro. All for you. It's okay. It's all for you. Get some therapy, bud. That's just fucking gross. God damn it. That's just gross.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's hearing you say the word gross. You know what? Some people just like to hear that. Gross.
Ew.
Even Wilson was like, ew. Meow. Ew.
Right? Completely. Ew. Thank you for that, but ew. Oh, God. You know what? That's not the worst of what he's done. I just know that he needs therapy, and sometimes he seeks us for therapeutical help. So, good job, buddy. Good job. Let's see.
Oh, they're trying to claim that because we've dropped stuff for like 3 days that our hospitals are back up again. I'm like, no, they're not.
No, they're not. Of course they are, because they want to scare people, right?
Yep.
It's like they had that Teresa girl that was arrested in shackles. In the courtroom. In shackles. like as if she fucking killed somebody. In fucking shackles. And I'm like, seriously? She's getting charged with mischief. This is just ridiculous.
Yeah, they haven't released any of them. Tamara's still in, Pat's still in. The only one who's been released is the RCMP guy.
Yep.
Which was a given because he's an RCMP guy, but I imagine he's probably like, fuck.
This is correct. Last gasp for masks. Provinces and COVID-19 mandates, but some doctors say to keep them. Only some, though, right? Not all, just some. So if some doctors decided that we should start FGM, does that mean we'd all fucking do it? Because I'm sure there are some out there that would. Too far?
No.
Yeah, it's... Alright, we're starting to trail off, which means if you decide to end the stream, I wouldn't say no.
We're all going to hell in a handbasket. That's okay, though. Watching our lefties lose their mind over the fact that Russell Brand doesn't really like us anymore is really funny. Oh, no, it's funny. They're crying.
Oh, shit. One last article that you might be interested in, although I don't think I'm going to be able to read it. It might be behind a paywall. Yes, it is. So I'll just read you the headline for the heads to roll. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Canadian-inspired freedom convoy ends in violence in New Zealand.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But anyways, as I was saying, unless you have any more content, we're starting to flatline. If you wanted to end it here, I wouldn't say no.
Yeah, we could probably do that. I mean, I think we've even gone a little...
Yes, we have.
Yeah. Honestly, there's not much going on outside of that, and to be fair, I'm not saying this to talk shit about our cousins down under, like the Australians and the New Zealanders, but they tend to go a little bit more hot-headed than we do. I've noticed that as a culture, they seem to be a little bit more hot-headed than we are.
Good.
Oh shit.
That's not a bad thing, though. It's just you got to know who your drunk friends are and who are your better, who handles their beer better. But I also keep telling Australia that they're doing it wrong. They are still doing it wrong. I mean, they already know the weapon that works against their government, and they're not utilizing it yet again. And, they're called emus, and it's called honk honk. So you just... get something that'll make a honk honk sound, and then you tie it to a couple emus, which is gonna absolutely piss them the fuck off. And then you set them loose on the Australian officials.
Fair.
They'll drop the mandates, and it would be funny.
This is true. This is true. Fucking poop.
Hey, listen, I mean, if we could get away with doing that to our geese, we would.
Yeah, that's why we shoot them and send them down to America. Alright, ladies and gentlemen. This is that moment where we start trailing off into a big pile of nothing.
Yep.
Which means I'm just gonna personally thank everybody for showing up. And continuously showing up. Please keep showing up.
Yes, we're having fun with these.
Yeah, also, Monday, if it's okay with Jen, I think will be part 3 of Needle Points.
Sure.
I'm quite enjoying it. If you guys are enjoying it, let me know, and I will find different styles of scientific essays to go over and disseminate some very useful information. And if you think it's boring, let me know that too, so I never do it again.
Alrighty. Well, I guess we'll have to leave off, and next time I'm not sure what I'm gonna do. Next time I'm not sure because like I don't really know the OBS as well as you do, so who knows? Maybe I'll try doing one with StreamYards or something because that way I can at least share my screen a little bit better. Because I don't have that set up yet.
Yes, you do.
Well,
You do. You set it up 2 weeks ago. You have the setup right now.
with OBS, I don't have it on my scenes. I don't actually have that
Yes,
set up.
you do.
I have countdown, I have intro, I have no display, and I have display.
That's correct.
Mm-hmm.
So the fourth box, we're going to do this right now, guys. Give us a minute.
All right.
Go to the fourth box. Click on it.
Yeah.
The one below this one. Okay, now when you're on it, you're going to see a big empty space in the middle, right?
Uh-huh. The window capture?
Not on the window capture. Double click that,
Uh-huh.
then click the browser you want to show. So just open up a random browser like Twitter, and then go into window capture, double click window capture, and go to that little scroll bar, and then click whatever browser you use.
Okay.
And then click OK. And it should then come up on the screen. Boom! Magical.
All right. I just don't normally use OBS for that. I usually just use StreamYards because it's like share screen.
Now,
it's very basic.
Got it.
StreamYards is very basic, but it's more for like if you want a big group of people and you're just chatting. It's easier for them to share stuff too. Like say we were both doing something and you were on Twitter and you wanted to share something with me right away, and you were like share screen, I could just click on it and share your shit. I just wouldn't have the fancy background.
I can just add you on Twitter and then go, hey Jen, I added you. Here you go.
Yeah. The only thing it doesn't have is it doesn't have the fancy background stuff that Blue and you guys have set up, because this stuff makes it pretty. Like this stuff makes the stream look awesome.
Dude, Box, like it wouldn't have had the intro either, and it wouldn't have the intro music that Big Dro was missing. Box put so much work into this, which is why I'm determined we should use it.
Mm-hmm. That's why I am trying to use it more often. Yeah, I'll keep working on it. Maybe next time I'll do that. Next time I'll have you walk me through it, and the chat's being very nice to me. I appreciate it, because everybody's kind of new at this, and how you learn how to do something, you have to do it.
Much, which is why I was just like, all right, before we end, we'll do this right now.
I just don't have anything to share a screen with at this point because I shut that off. So I'm like, I'm not pulling up Twitter again. I love all of you. I love all of you, but Twitter is a shithole, and it always will be.
Yep.
We should leave it on that.
Right.
We should leave it on that.
And our ending is always the intro.
All right, and
so
intro.
Peace out.